So let us see how we can make Hanukkah menorah crafts from cookie cutter to creative. Here are some cookie cutter crafts. As you can see, they're all exact. They're all designed by the teacher. They're all created in exact accordance with what the teacher says. And as we know, that is the definition of what a cookie cutter copycat crafts is. Now let's do it creatively. So I started out, I have another sheet. You're probably better off getting something that has colorful and different types of menorahs. But I started out with this sheet. I quickly put it together in Canva. And then I saw I was really starting out with 3-4-year-olds. And I realized that they were having a really hard time with these rounded ones. So I cut these away and I continued just by showing them that they could just do something that's in a straight line. And from these 3-4-year-olds, two of them you might have seen me talk about before, two of my grandchildren, one of them who's very sensory and just kind of makes things randomly, and then this new 4-year-old that was here as a visitor, and she'd never been given this kind of choice or how to do something like this, so she was quite a little bit confused. So let me first show you the materials that I gave them. If you have the opportunity to give them real menorahs, and then they could really see what they are, that will help them with their activity. Here are the materials that we're going to use to make menorahs. There's shiny papers and really shiny papers, metallic, and scrapbooking papers, and tape like from flower arranging, and ribbons, and regular washi tape. And here are toothpicks and these kinds of things, and how they're gonna make their menorahs. If you notice with two of them, the two girls, the process, which is really what they really need a lot of at this age, is process art. The process is more important than the product. They're very involved with their glue stick. It's also purple, so it looks like it's coloring, and that's my granddaughter. She spends a lot of time with the glue sticks, putting lots of glue all over it. It's definitely more important than the product that they're making. On the other hand, my grandson works very methodically, and he's ready for the product. He decided he wanted to make another one, so he took materials and a marker, and he drew the ovals, and now he's putting the flames right on top. So this was the 4-year-old, my very sensory granddaughter that just is putting things down. I had put down flames for them to use. She actually then took note of her cousin who was making this, and she was feeling very bad that his looked more like a menorah. And that's one of the reasons why I don't always like doing especially older kids and younger kids together, because they're busy looking at what the older kids are doing. And this was the visitor who was kind of copying the straight lines of the 4-year-old visitor that was copying the straight lines, and took one flame to add for it. And this is my grandson's completed one, where he was adding the flames on top of the ovals that he drew. This is my 9-year-old granddaughter. When she made it, she said, "Oh, it doesn't look like a real 9-year-old," but she thought of taking this piece of paper, sticking the stem under here, and she cut things very carefully, and she used the flames that I had prepared. And usually, older ages, when you show them a picture and they basically know what the idea is, they have the most freedom of expression to create it, especially when you give more materials for them to create it in something that looks a little bit more realistic. So here are some other materials that I've given. For menorahs, here was a whole bunch of different options for flames, and actually here was an older child just cutting out her own flames. And here are some older children's early elementary school that used the craft sticks, maybe used some ribbon, And the next one is really just a whole bunch of very detailed sequins. So as you can see, when older children are working, they do look more like menorahs. Now here's another one, another activity. Making menorahs using tape. They use the tape and they make their menorah on a paper. They paint over it. You could do regular paint. I basically use watercolors, and then you lift up the tape. And here's another one. So that's just another kind of menorah. If you want to find out more about what's wrong with copycat cookie cutter crafts, then go to my website, EduArt4, number 4 kids. You'll get a free mini course that will explain it all.